Folks, welcome to a special edition of the Jake Feinberg Show. And my guest today hails from the South Bronx. He was at the epicenter of the fusion of hard-driving Latin rhythms when you incorporate them into a jazz setting. He added colors that provided to countless sessions that made for a warmer, more danceable kind of music. He played with Herbie Mann, Clifford Jordan, Joe Farrell, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Max Roach, and Roy Brooks. He's been a leader in his own right and making great Latin jazz albums on the Inner City label. He continues to mentor, educate, and play music that is soulful sounding and true to the idiom. Ray Mantilla, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Hey, Jay, how you doing? And hello, Tucson.
Hello to you. It's just...
and all of Arizona, baby. I'm just waking up, so you got to excuse me. We had a job last night, and we played the marathon over here, New York Marathon.
Oh.
It was wonderful on Sunday. It was very exciting when you have the people passing by. The guy that wins every year, he passed right by us. It was fun.
Oh, wow.
How you doing?
No, I was going to say, what kind of group do you have playing these days?
Well, I have different groups. Like right now, I'm using either a quintet with Willie Williams on the tenor, Eddie Martinez on the piano, and Cucho Martinez on the bass, and Bill Elder on the drums. That's my quintet. Then I have my 8 people, which is with a baritone, Enrique Fernandez, and trumpet Guido Gonzalez. And then I'm going to Europe with a trio. I want to do something different. And we're leaving in February with a trio, with the piano, bass, and percussion. And I just keep moving. I got students, and New York City is bubbling.
Thank God for that. Because we need a little...
Yeah, at times it bubbles, at times it's flat, nothing.
Exactly. No, Ray, my first question is, and I want to pronounce this the right way. What is a Nuyorican Conguero?
Okay, Nuyorican. I was born in the Bronx, from New York, and my mother was Puerto Rican. And what we call the Nuyorican is a guy born and raised in New York with Rican parents. And I happen to have a Peruvian father. But I'm different. I call myself a Peruvian Rican from the Bronx. It's just a cute way of saying Peruvian Rican. And since, this is the way it's been here for a long time now, we have a lot of new immigrants coming in, and they have their own groups. They have the Colombians have their own little situation here. They have their own little area where they play their cumbia. And then you have the Dominicans on another part of the city, Washington Heights, and they play the merengue. And so you go to different parts of the town, and you hear Colombian music, you hear all kinds. Even go to Chinatown, hear some Chinese music here. So that's what they call a Bronx kid with Puerto Rican descent is a Nuyorican.
I was going to say, when I come back east, because I grew up in Stony Brook, you got to take me around and show me some of this different ethnic stuff, man.
Hey, I got to tell you, that stuff up is way in the Bronx, and I remember that it's all brand new up there. But now all the stuff that the Bronx kids are all ended up infiltrating into the population here.
Right.
The new immigrants or the new people, the Latin people are the Colombians and the Dominicans, and we're getting a whole bunch of Mexicans coming here, which is good too. And it's like a melting pot. Everybody knows that.
Ray, I want to start with a question because I've talked to a lot of guys like Poncho Sanchez and Ramon Banda and those guys who they had Mexican roots, and they were from Texas, and then they eventually went to California. And they created their own Latin rhythms.
That's true. What happens is that the Chicano brothers, they got them sold, and they do very good in California. We have a Bronx kind of a thing for the Latin, and the Cubans play it different. So we made like our own little, groove. No, just like the Chicano brothers.
Well, my question was, regardless, they were very heavily influenced by the hard-driving Puerto Rican East Coast sound that you were growing up in, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about growing up in that atmosphere when salsa was just really exploding at that point.
Well, I got to tell you, that's like, let me see.
I know, it's about 60 years ago, I know.
Back years ago, but I'll tell you how I started. I lived in the Bronx, and I used to go to the Palladium. And in the Palladium is where it all began for me. I used to hear Tito Puente, Machito, and Tito Rodriguez. My favorite band was Machito Band. They had a real Afro-Cuban sound, and it was the first time I ever heard anything like that. That's how I became a musician. I heard the Congo player. His name is Miranda. He used to play with the band years ago. The old boys, you know, and I got involved with the music from going, and I danced. You have to dance a little bit. At least your rhythm is in you. So I danced a lot. And then I started listening to the congas. And before you know it, I'm playing congas. And just it's like sort of, you know, you keep playing and you study a little bit. And here I am, later on in life.
When did you? What were you like as a teen? I mean, you were born in '34, so by the early '50s, what kind of bands were you playing, and were you trying to?
Listen, I started late playing my percussion as a conga player. I started about I was 18, 19 years old. Actually, I was 17, something like that. That's late compared, you know. I was a ball player. I liked to play baseball, but then that went out the window when I heard the drums. And like I said, at that time, the only bands that were really going is an old group that called Amo Garcia in the Bronx, and we had many other groups. That's when I met Emmanuel Kendo. He was living in the Bronx too, and they had the dancing was Marcelino Guerra. He was going at that time from the barrio, and the charanga bands were coming in. Belisario Lopez, you know, because I started playing charanga with Lou Perez, and as a timbale player. But play the congas, you have to play it all. For me, I went all through the congas and the drum set. And I went to school to read. And now here I am, and it's all coming to pass. You know, we're just making a living out of this whole thing. But that's what I heard. Machito, Tito Rodriguez was my favorite band. One of them, anyway. The Three Kings. You know, it was wonderful.
Those salsa rhythms, those were dance rhythms originally, right? That were eventually put into music.
Yeah, well, those are Cuban rhythms. They call them guarachas. They call them montunos. They saw montunos and all these rhythms. So everybody at that time was listening to Arsenio Rodriguez, which was a soul montuno band, and it was really heavy. It's like that slow beat music, and it's a very danceable rhythm. It's not real Cuban music. It's a Cuban style, Cuban dancing. So I learned how to play dance Cuban style, and also we had in the Bronx a special style of dancing. You know, and the whole area is just evolved around. There was a lot of music in those days. Now it's like 50% less, 50% musicians less, because if you can't be in a country where they have the hand drum like the conga, a lot of people they go to Puerto Rico or to a Latin country where they use them. See, I'm born and raised in the Bronx. I can't go nowhere, so I'm here.
Wait, why have they taken the hand drum away in the States?
Well, it's because don't forget, this 80% of this United States is not Latin.
Right.
80% is a mixture. We might have here. We might have about a 10% or less than that for music. We don't have a lot of hand drummers in America here in New York. They all went to Puerto Rico. They went to Cuba. This year, you got to infiltrate playing the jazz music. See, I made a lot of. The reason I stuck around so much is after I played 20 years of salsa music with Miguelito Valdez and Jose Cubelo and Ray Barretto and La Playa Sextet and Ralph Fund and his band, Xavier Cougar. I can't even remember all these folks. There was a lot of work around here. Now it's half as much. 50% it all disappeared and dried up. So it's hard to stay here. There's a lot of competition here in New York City.
I was going to say could you talk a little bit about Manuel Kendo?
Yeah, well, Manuel Kendo and I met in the Bronx. He was playing with I can't remember everybody off the top of my head. The name of the band we played together in, and all through the years, you know, we played sporadically together. But I knew him. He was a straight-ahead, heavy bongo player. That was when I met him. He was playing bongos.
Yeah.
But he was also a percussionist. He played the timbales. And man, he was one of the top cats. And that's when he started. And I went into the jazz because I'm not gonna. After I was living in Puerto Rico for about 10 years. Came back. I'm not going to start a salsa band. There was 10,000 salsa bands here at that time. So I started to go in and play Latin jazz because Herbie Mann made the call, and I joined Herbie. And then from then on, that's what made it happen. That's what made it happen. The salsa bands, I mean, you play there, and you stay playing that, and then at the end, you have to go jump. I had to jump to another sphere as far as the Latin music. You have to really love it. I do love it, but it just stays in the same groove all the time. So that's why we have this music called Latin jazz now. Besides, that Latin word is, we're not Latin, we're Spanish.
Exactly.
So Latin jazz to me, yeah, it's kind of hard to do that. I'm not Latin. I'm Spanish, you know. Latin is in Rome.
Do you remember the cats that would come, like, from George Shearing's band, like Al McKibben or Cal Jader? They would come, and they would...
Yeah, what happened? What happened with that? At that time, I played with Al McKibben. See, he was one of the first bands with the vibes that I heard of, you know.
With Shearing?
And then, yeah, he was before Herbie Mann, and then Herbie got a group, and he used, like, to say more or less, but different kind of music, you know, more jazzy. Carl was playing more Latin style stuff, and then it worked out pretty good for us because I stayed with him for a while, and then from there, everything opened up. I met Max Roach. Max asked me to do the Freedom Suite, We Insist, and Alatunji was with us, so through him I got to Max, and then when I met Max, I was also approached by our Blakey. I was very fortunate. I got to tell you, there was a lot of work. We played the Apollo Theater about 10 times a year. Oh, so, and at the Apollo Theater, we always had a whole weekend there. It's a rough gig there, and that's where our Blakey and Machito and all those bands saw me. And that's what it is, it's being exposed to the right people. So God has been good to me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, Ray, I mean, you've had a great life, but I mean, the thing is that you were also, right place at right time, because like you said, you took the elements of the Afro-Cuban, the Latin, the salsa, and then at that time you had guys like Herbie Mann and George Shearing, people like that who were trying to add additional Latin percussion. He had...
it opened the door. You know who started at this? He started with Chano. That's when everybody wanted to have a conga player.
Yeah, Chano Poza?
That's when that's when the jazz guys started, oh, wait a minute, we need a hand drummer here. That starts from the roots. It's supposed to give you an urban feeling, you know.
I love that. Talk about that. I want to know the genesis of where the hand drum came into jazz.
I tell you, it started with Chano, maybe. It started with Chano because at that time they used to have bongos. The bongos was taking the conga part, you know. And they used to just have the bongos, and then they added the conga, and then the timbales came in. But it was really something that Chano Pozo was the guy that started everything with Dizzy. And everybody wanted a drum after that. And you notice why everybody's got a conga drum? The jazz guys, that keeps you in the urban feel of urbanism, you know. Contemporary, all the people, not talking about getting up here, but people that has to hear the drum. Like, listen, I was born, when you go to Puerto Rico and you don't hear a conga, it doesn't work. You got to have a conga drum in this music. It's part of the heritage. It's part of the history. A lot of people go out there without playing with just, but you need a conga drum if you really want to. It makes a big difference. You hear a quartet without a drum. You can hear a quintet with a drum. It's much better. It's different.
How did talk a little bit? He's left us now, but talk about your relationship with Max Roach, what he stood for, and the opportunity you had with the Freedom Suite.
Oh, well, that all happened through working with Herbie at the Village Gate. Remember the Village Gate?
Well, yes.
Be down there. Yeah, Village Gate on Blakey and Thompson. We used to play there often. We used to get 20 weeks a year at the gate, you know, with Herbie. And there was a place called a Half Note. They used to get another 20 weeks a year. I got to tell you, we worked almost 50-something weeks a year, 50. We had a couple of weeks off. This was a long time ago. Right now with Max, I tell you, he was a wonderful man. I spent 35 years with him with the percussion ensemble, Boom. And that was one of Max's babies. And I was very fortunate to be at the right spot at the right time, which is a very important part. You know, it is. It's very important it's just that the whole thing changes. You got to make your own way. But the Max just opened up the doors for me, put me in a percussion ensemble. That's where I got to learn how to play all the chimes and the symphonies and all the glockenspiels, all his symphonic instruments. He put it all together, and everybody had to play them. We all had to get on different parts. There's some things I do on the mallet instruments and the marimba, and it was good. It was very open, and he was a very sensitive man, and he only had around him his friends that loved him, you know. I'm not standing in front of a big picture in my house with Boom Boom. Max is in the middle of Joe Chambers. We have Omar Clay that passed away, Mr. Fred King that used to play with Pablo Casal's timpani, Warren Smith, Mr. Roy Brooks that passed away also.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember Roy Brooks.
No, I do, yeah.
Yeah, and he was our specialist with the saw. He used to play the saw.
Yeah, he also put...
Most of the guys that passed, I think we got about 4 of the original members that passed. So we had Omar Clay passed, Max passed, and Roy Brooks passed. That's right. That's 3 people. We're only 3 left. Me, Joe Chambers, and Warren Smith.
You know,
the only originals left.
I'm going to get to all of them. I get to the West Coast percussionists. I get to the East Coast percussionists. But I need to play you some music and you can listen to it, and then we can come back and talk about it. Okay?
All right, let's take it. Do it. Let's do it.
you go.
Hey, who is that?
That was from 1960. I don't know when it was. New York is a jungle festival. Herbie
That
Mann.
was in the Village Gate?
Village Gate, you and this guy named Chief Bey.
That was me on Congo, wasn't it?
Absolutely, Ray.
Oh my God! You know something? I haven't heard that in a long time. I don't even know if I have a copy of that. That's out of print already.
I'm gonna send you. You have a vinyl player? I can send it to you.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I think I could probably get it on the internet, or maybe I might have it here because I have the Herbie Mann at the gate, and Herbie Mann returns to the gate.
No.
It's one on returns to the gate.
It's Returns is the best one, man. You are all over it.
Yeah, you know what happened? That was funny because when we made that Come On Home Baby there, I walked in to do the date. That was at the Village Gate that we were playing, and there's Ben Tucker's there, and then he had his other bass, Ahmed Abdul Malik, I think he was on that. And he started with the rhythm. They were rehearsing the Come On Home Baby in the back before we started to play. They just got the tune. And we played it. Yeah, and we never played it before, and I got up on the stage and we recorded it. That was the first time we played it.
Well, this is what the notes from Jack Maurer of Billboard say. It says, it sometimes sounds as though Ray Mantilla playing bongos and Chief Bey playing the American version of the Congo drum are attempting to annihilate one another.
Well, that's what it was every night, right? That's only him. When I was with Ray Barretto at the Village Gate, it was Herbie. It was me with Ray Barretto and also Tucci. So you're talking about Chief Bey, yeah. But when we were playing the theater, it was like annihilation time. Ray would play, then I would play, and then Tucci would come up and with his robes and tear the house apart. He didn't have to play nothing. All he did was come out with the robes. Feel about that. And he had these drums, man. They were like African drumming. So it was a different kind of a way of approaching it. It was African, and I was coming from the Rican style, you know, and then we had the drummer was Rudy Collins in those days, but when Tito Puente and Ray Barretto parted their ways, he came to us to play with us, you know, and he wanted to take the conga chair, but Herbie said, no, you can play bongos if you want, ballets and stuff, but no, at that particular time, I don't even know if he's on that date.
On side two, it's Rudy Collins on drums, you and Ray Barretto on percussion.
See that? See, Ray was with us, and then it was funny. Ray Barretto was the one that called me to go do a job with Herbie. So I said to him, okay. I was playing all the salsa dances. I tell you, there was 20 years of salsa, and ended up with Miguelito Valdez on Broadway. I did 30 weeks with Miguelito. He was the king of the rhythm at that time. He still is.
Well, I got another musical treat for you. I want to see if you can pick this out because I don't think you have this one, but it really. I mean, my daughter and I listened to this last night. We picked it out for you, so just listen.
Yeah? You won't tell me the name, huh?
No.
Okay, it's all over the telephone, you know.
There you go.
Hey, that's a Pentagon, right?
Oh, good for Ray. Way to go, dude. Nice job,
I
man.
remember that record because we did it live. We did it live, right to disc. You know that it was a Japanese label.
Hey,
We ended up just doing it direct to disc in those days.
And I love the attention that was paid to what captures me about this album. You're right, it's Japanese label, and then all the great photography. You're on Congo's. I have the vinyl copy. Billy Higgins, playing drums. I'm like, this is great because that's what you're talking about. These guys, Cedar, Clifford Jordan, those guys. That was straight jazz, but to add the urban feel, you put the conga in.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I mean, beautiful stuff.
Listen, what happened was that was a live performance. There was no overdubbing. There was nothing but straight ahead. If you made a mistake, you blew. I don't know if you got the original Pentagon cover. They show it to you. Do you have the original cover?
I have 5 eggs on it.
Okay, it opens up inside and you see them doing the record right to the disc. I think it was a silver copy or something, and from there they print it. So it was the direct disc type of a day.
Right, there was no. It was the first generation. Yeah, I see it all here.
In other words, there was no overdubbing. It was straight ahead, and that's how they make these records nowadays. One time, you play them one time, and they were smart with that because then they sold pretty good. And then in the city, Muse took it over, and now it's called High Note, the record label, High Note and Savant, which I have about 2 CDs on Savant. Anyhow, you got any of my records?
I was going to say, I wanted to talk to you about this one that was just released on from Inner City in 1978 with Jeremy Steig on it.
Oh man, that's a long time ago. I have 10 CDs. You only got one?
I have the because Ray. I'm stuck in the early 70s. I can't get out of it. I can't leave it.
Okay.
You know?
I can understand that. Just give me a call and I'll have the label send you a couple of records, new records of mine.
Okay.
I have a brand new one, and I also have the Jazz Tribe, which is another group that with Bobby Watson, called the Jazz Tribe. You ever hear that group?
I would love to. So what should I should call you or call who?
Yeah. Give me a call later. Right now, I got to run out to a record date.
You do, Ray. Listen, thanks for taking the time, man, and we'll stay in touch, brother.
Please, and say hi to everybody, and thank you for the call. Let's do it again.
Let's do it, baby.
We'll call, and I'll try to get you some records for your radio broadcast.
Thank you, Ray. Be good.
Hey, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening to my gibberish.
keep swinging.
Top of my head. I'm just waking up,
Dude, just keep.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I hope everything is all right, and God bless.
Thank you, Ray. Be good.
Peace.
Right, peace.